Nonviolent communication supports creation of such quality of relationship that opens us up to giving and receiving from the heart, or that opens us up for cooperation or co-creation. There are many definitions of nonviolent communication and you can have your own, but this one is one of my favorite ones. And it also offers a secret ingredient that helps create such quality of relationship, such quality of connection. This is what Marshall Rosenberg discovered, that behind everything that people say or do, regardless whether you like it or not, there are universal human needs. And these needs is something that connects us all, because we all have them. So, one thing and one practice I would like to invite you to today is to just go around, think about, look at your close ones, but also think about other people. Whether you watch something on TV, whether you watch a film or read something in a newspaper, and just wonder, what is the underlying need behind what this person does? What is the motivation, the good intention to do that? Because see, in this way, we are invited to put on, it's almost like putting on glasses, and through these glasses we gain skill and capacity to see people in their innocence, in the beauty. Even, as I say, if we don't like a particular action, there's always the universal need that is underlying it, that we share as well. So that's very crucial part of the needs, that they work or they apply not only to you or this other person, but to a child, to a president, to anyone, regardless of age, race, gender, anything. We are all human, we all share the same needs. So, what are the needs and how can we define them? One way to do that is to ask yourself a question: what is important to you? What matters to you in life? It can be connection, or peace, joy, fun, rest, fulfillment, belonging, love, safety. There are many. So tomorrow in this group you will find a list and a list of examples of these universal human needs. But today I would like you to just ponder about your own needs, what matters to you, and also look for these examples around you and try to uncover this, what matters really to the person who's doing what they're doing. And please share some of your discoveries in the comments here. Have a good day. Welcome. One of the great powers behind nonviolent communication as a practice, not only as a communication practice, but as a self-practice, for me it is that it helps me to connect to abundance and to creativity and to fullness, to what is, to open up to new and different possibilities. And today I would like to invite you to a very simple practice that's connected to it. Yesterday, I asked you to look at what is important for you in your life. And I saw Sandrine's comment about how she really dived into it, how she looked into what matters to her, and she looked into her husband's values and needs as well, and then compared and had a sharing about it, a beautiful exploration. So this is one thing that you can still do. And at the same time, today I will post list of needs, an example of list of needs, because this is not finite. You can still find and find out and discover and explore new ways of naming what really matters to you in your life. And I would like you to look at these needs and find at least 3 that really matter to you and that are really dear to you and that are met in some extent at least. And I would like you to see how are they met, in which situations you have it already, in which areas you have it already, and try to be as specific as possible so you can think about this moment when you know, in the morning your child came to you and hugged you, and this was a moment of connection and love. You know, it can be very simple on daily basis like that, or you can think about how you have food to put on your table every day and how this meets your need for trust and for some basic safety. I invite you to spend some time with this, not only today, but maybe in the course of these days, and just notice which these everyday activities, how they matter, and which of your needs are being met. You may realize that other people contribute to this as well. And you may just reach out and tell them, you know, what you just did. It may be a very simple act of passing on a paper that you needed, or, you know, making a cup of tea. How this matters. And just sharing it with them. So this is an invitation to abundance practice and gratitude practice of just realizing what is already there. Because oftentimes we don't see this, and it's not our fault either, because our brains and minds are hardwired to see what's missing, what's possibly dangerous, you know. But when we just go along with this creates a lot of stress in our life. So this is an invitation to pay conscious attention and focus on what is there, what nourishes you, what makes you happy, or, you know, what brings fulfillment into your life. this is also a practice that you may do every day until the end of this course, that you sit in the evening and write down 3 things that worked for you. And with these 3 things, you notice what mattered to you about them. And this way, open yourself up to seeing the beauty, seeing what works. And when this muscle is practiced, it becomes easier and easier, so you have more access to nourishment and to just recognizing the abundance and beauty, alongside with all the other things that we see anyways. Have a good day. Welcome. When I first discovered this basic assumption of nonviolent communication, that behind everything that people say or do, there are universal human needs, that these needs are the qualities that just want to be manifested, they inform all of our actions. It sounded so beautiful and so true, The way I think about learning, just as a side note, is that we don't really learn something new. We more like remember what our hearts know already. So that's part of my invitation for you here, that I am and I will be sharing different elements of nonviolent communication with you, and different stories and different insights from my life. But what I would like you to take from it is only what really serves you, what speaks to you. So if you don't resonate with something, just leave it and take what truly feeds your soul. So when I have discovered the language of needs, it felt as if my soul, my heart remembered it. And I was so excited. And at the same time mourning, like, why didn't anyone teach me this before? And I felt like this baby not being able to understand my needs, to recognize my needs. I wasn't able to understand and recognize the needs of others, especially when they were doing something that I didn't enjoy. It was so challenging to realize what the underlying needs were and to connect to the person there in their innocence. I just saw the person that did something I really, really hated, So it's been a journey. I'm on this journey for 12 years now, and I still learn. And I still keep listening, keep guessing, keep uncovering. And today I would like to invite you into some more exploration. around the needs. Because the beautiful thing is that we can start learning at any moment of our life, and we can even relearn some of the things that we have learned before. It does take some time. A friend of mine said that the time it takes to relearn is at least as many months as the number of years that we have learned something that wasn't serving us. And I believe that for some people it's shorter, for some people it may take even more time. But I find the journey really beautiful and fulfilling, and I'm really happy that you are with me together in this journey. And soon I will also invite you to create some groups where you can continue this journey and support you in this journey together. This will happen at the beginning of the next week. So today, the journey is about needs, understanding needs, and about returning to our innocence. So I would like to invite you to remember yourself as a child. You can pick whichever moment you like, 5-year-old, 7-year-old. You can remember a specific situation and just try to visualize how you felt, how it was for you to be the child. How was your heart? How did you see life? How did you see other people? And in particular, I'd like to invite you to remember your innocence. Tap into this quality of the childlike innocence. And just notice how it feels right now as you remember it. And then I would like you to remember, what did you enjoy doing around this time? What brought you joy? What brought you excitement? What you dove into without much thinking? You may take a moment, pause this video and just write it down. These activities you are passionate about. Like, I remember I loved meeting with my friends, and we were looking for these little parts of glass bottles, you know, like broken glass bottles, and we would collect some little herbs, some flowers, some beads, and we would put it on the ground and cover it with this piece of glass, and we would call it a treasure. And I also remember playing outside with other kids. I don't even know how to name these games, but anyways, my invitation for you as you remember these is to see what was important for you about these. You can just ask yourself, you can ask your heart. You can also take the list of needs that I shared with you in the group yesterday and just notice, what were the needs met for you in these situations? Like for me, see, the first thing that I think about, that comes up for me when I think about this piece of glass bottle is, it was a need for beauty. I enjoyed creating beauty, but also creativity. So to create something for fun and for play, for sure, and for connection. It was way more nourishing to do it with other people than to do it alone. Need for excitement when I'm thinking about games, also based in competition, but the competition was was serving excitement, was not serving trying to be better than someone, it was more about just being playful. So that's the first exploration that you look at, you take, and then look at the needs that you would have collected like that, and ask yourself, are they still present in your life right now? And how do you attend to these needs? So I'm thinking creativity. I'm creating some things. I'm drawing. I'm even making these recordings that they are an expression of creativity. Or when I'm putting together online courses or courses in general, workshops. This is also a way that creativity lives in my life. And still, I imagine that I would like to have more of it and create more spaces for just free creativity that's not work-oriented, but it's just an expression of creativity in itself. And the beauty that's still present in my life. And I can think about how do I manifest, or what do I do, to bring beauty into my life right now. So that's the invitation for you. Whichever needs you uncover there, that you look into how do they live in your life right now, and if you want to make more space for them, perhaps. And then I would like you to also think about the situation in your childhood that was challenging for you. A situation that the adults didn't like. Perhaps you were punished. And if you could just see what were the needs, what was important for the child who was doing what they were doing. Maybe you didn't do your homework. I remember when I was doing my homework, and it was so beautiful and sunny outside. I wanted to go out and play, and I just did whatever. And my father, he saw this homework being really untidy, and he forced me to write it over and over again until there was not a single mistake. And when I notice this right now, I notice sadness in me, and also I notice how much I wanted just the freedom, the joy of being outside and to play. So notice the needs of my father wanted me to have the skill to do whatever I needed to, a sort of discipline. So right now I can see how he wanted to contribute to my life. So that's another exploration that you might do, to look at your needs as a child, and also possibly the needs of the adult that was disciplining you in some way. And when you tap to the needs of the child, also see, how are these needs alive for you right now? Are they still present, or they have been, there's something attached to them, some shame maybe? Because this is something that you may discover as well, that sometimes when we're being punished as children for how we express our needs, we start to bring the needs down. We start to suppress our needs. So you may find some needs that are not manifesting as freely. For me, this would be spontaneity in these moments. You know, I tend to give up my spontaneity for discipline, you know, when something needs to be done. I realize right now that this recording and these practices are actually two separate practices that I could probably leave you with for 2 days at least. So tomorrow we will continue exploring the needs and looking at them, tasting them, getting more familiar with them. So that's it for today, and I see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Welcome. This week I'm inviting you to explore needs, because this was the most crucial discovery for me when I first started to learn nonviolent communication. And then uncovering them and tapping into them and understanding them brought me a lot of joy, but also access to my aliveness. And I do hope that from at least some of these practices, you'll be able to discover your aliveness. What makes you move and live and be joyful in life. And the practice that I would like to share with you today is about exploring what is underneath a particular need word. Because as one of my colleagues and also fellow NVC teacher says, Jim Mansky, and it's pointless to argue about pointers. So let's look at these pointers that the needs words are. I'd like to invite you to take a word, like look at the list of needs or come back to one quality that is really important to you. And then from there start exploring. So what does it mean to you really? You know, when, for instance, if you took trust, what is trust to you? What does it mean? And I invite you to spend really some time on it. So it's not about, 1-2 minutes. I took a journal, I wrote a few things, and that's it. I really would like to invite you into an inquiry and take 15 minutes, half an hour if you have, and just stay with this one question. What does this need mean to you? And at some point, you may find out that you wrote or you said everything that you had to say. And at this point, I invite you to stay with the question and stay with the silence. Because in my experience, when you reach the end of your answers to a question, that means that you reached the end of what you know, the answers you know. And this is like a threshold to this magical land. And beyond the threshold lie new answers. So you may find out something that you haven't known so far. And then, as you continue, you may come across just another threshold. And then staying with the question can bring you to a new level, a new depth. So that's my invitation. You will have 3 days for this, because we will see each other again on Monday. So you may also take a look at the other recordings from this week and really take your time to touch the needs, to smell the needs, to understand the needs, and see how you can create relationship with these needs. And if you enjoy, you can also ask this question, what does this mean to you, to another person in your life. You may take the same need and just notice, what does this word point to for another person? And how does it feel to listen? How does it feel to connect around this question and this value, this need? Have a good day. Welcome. So NVC is full of game changers, which I also call keys. You know, sometimes I will be bringing key to this recording to point out to something that opens door to a new way of relating or to connecting. And today I brought this key to share with you another principle of non-binary communication, and at the same time key to changing everything in a relationship. I think that's the one that I'm using the most actually when practicing non-binary communication on a daily basis. And that key is a difference between need and strategy. And the principle is that the conflicts that we experience with other people, but also within ourselves, they're always on the level of strategy and never on the level of needs. Needs are never in conflict. So this is a principle that actually still lands in me. So you can take some time to look at it. In a moment I will illustrate how this principle works on a basic example. But then to really take it in, to really open up to the fullness of our needs and understand that there is no either or in terms of our needs. Either or is only on the level of how we realize these needs, how we bring these needs to life. This is where we struggle. And going back to the level of needs brings up, well, first of all, more connection with life, and second of all, it can really open up our creativity. So, an example of how this may work. Imagine that I would say very standard situation, family situation, at least in my cultural context, where a parent comes back from work really tired, kind of overstimulated, and lies down on a sofa with a book or newspaper and starts to read. And at that very moment, from the room of a teenage son, starts this very, very intense and loud heavy metal music, like really big time, full volume, right? So what do you imagine happened next? In my world, the traditional parental response would be to go to son's room, bang on the door, and start a shouting match around that this is not only the house of the son, and that he should shut this music down immediately. Right? To which the son may respond also shouting that this is his room and he can do whatever he likes. Just for instance, yeah, I can imagine different scenarios of this struggle going on. So this is on the level of strategy, right? The father wanted to read a newspaper and the son wanted to listen to his favorite heavy metal music. And these strategies clearly clash if they want to do that at the same time. However, what happens if we move to the level of strategies? Of needs. If we move from the level of strategies to the level of needs. So, what could be the needs of the father? Think about it. So, what is important to the father at this very moment? When he comes back from work after a long day in the office, say, and he just lies down on the sofa. What matters to him? Well, this could be rest, relaxation, kind of unwinding after this long day, just to name a few. And now let's move to the son. Let's imagine that he just returned from school. Maybe something happened there that he didn't enjoy. Maybe he doesn't like school at all, you know. Maybe it's a stressful experience for him. And then he also wants to relax. He also wants to unwind. It's just that his way of doing this is very different to that of his parent. And if we looked at these needs together at the same time, not putting one above the other, you know, sometimes we think, okay, the parent is the adult, so parental needs matter more than the needs of the children. Or we may think the children are our future, they're the most important people there are, so we need to put their needs first. So no, in nonviolent communication we do not make such differentiations. What if we valued fully the needs of both of them? And I'm not even saying equally, because how do we measure that? How about valuing them fully? So both of them want to rest and relax. And both of them have, of course, their favorite strategies to do so. So the father relaxes in peace and quiet, and the son relaxes with this music that probably helps him to shut his thoughts down, you know, and does something to his nervous system that he experiences as relaxation. So if they were to sit together, one thing that comes up for me and usually comes up at my workshops is that the son could use his headphones. So simple. But that's not the only possible solution. I imagine that the son could also maybe go to his friend and listen to the music there. Or maybe the father could go for a walk. Or perhaps the father could do something else and relax a bit later, like read his paper a bit later. Or the son could postpone his listening to music. Maybe they can do something together, find a way how they can chill and relax in each other's company. The possible solutions are many, but there are no fixed solutions. The solutions that work are actually the ones that work for these individual people. And the solutions are being created when they connect and when they have possibility to talk. So another question that you could derive from this little example is, what makes these sort of exchanges possible? And of course, connection, trust, and relationship are obvious answers, right? If they trust that they matter to each other and their needs matter to each other, how much easier it is to really look at each other's needs and find a way that works for both of them, actually, than when they believe they need to fight, or there is an either or. So we will be coming back to this because there are many little elements both to this differentiation and to conflict resolution in NVC, because NVC is a very, very powerful tool for conflict resolution between individuals, but also in groups. But this first element that I want you to look at today is this assumption that I started with, that on the needs level, there are no conflicts. Needs are never in conflict. We may be lacking creativity to find solutions that enable for our needs to be met. But the needs are never connected to a particular action, particular place or time or person. So whenever you say, I want to, connect with you, that's already a strategy for connection. I want connection, and I would so love to connect with you because you matter to me. You're a person dear to me. So the more general we can be in what we need, in what we long for, the more options, the more strategies there are to meet our needs. And then the more strategies we have, the more flexible we can be with the other person meeting their needs, and we may figure it out together as well. And another actually principle of nonviolent communication that sipped in today is that needs of all matter, and we are aiming at really including needs of all. And then including doesn't mean meeting them at this particular moment, because sometimes we don't know how to do that. But we can really see them, acknowledge them, look at them, connect around them, and just see what happens next. So for today, I have this one invitation for you, for practice. That you take one situation from your life, and where there is some sort of conflict, some sort of either or, best with another person, but sometimes we have it within us, either I'll do this or I'll do that, which to choose, or there is a struggle, being a parent, I so much recognize the struggle between attending to child wanting something and attending to my own need for rest, for relaxation, for space, right? So I'd like to invite you to take a piece of paper and on one side draw or write one person, yeah, like it was the father and the son, or you and your partner, or one option within you and the other option within you, to have these two sides and write down the strategies, what one person wants, what the other person wants. And then underneath, write the needs that you're guessing. What are your needs? What could be the needs of the other person? And just play around finding strategies how to include needs of both. Maybe not in this particular moment, maybe just today, or during the day, or you can invite this person to this exploration, or you can explore with someone else, with a friend, and just play with it, like really brainstorm, make it wild, make it playful, make it fun, and see what happens. And let us know in the comment. Enjoy your day.